All right, guys, today I got something that all of you have asked for. My folks at Comgrow, I sent them an email the other day just inquiring about using one of my rotaries with the Z1 to see if I could do tumblers and wine glasses and stuff like that for you guys, because some of you had asked about it and thought it was an economical option for a rotary and wanted to know what the possibilities were. Well, they responded back to my email with a tracking number. So they sent me this machine to try out, show you guys what it can do, what it can't do, the limitations of it. And as always, despite the fact that pretty much this entire setup, other than the enclosure Comgrow has given to me, I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly about this thing. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I had started out trying to do some tumblers like this size tumblers, the larger ones, and I have found that the rotary that Comgrow sells, due to the width of the rollers, and I think that's an easy enough fix for them if they would just make one with a wider distance between the rollers, it would eliminate this problem. But the problem is the rollers on this thing are too close together, and I have tried spreading them. I've got them spread as far as you can spread them on this machine, and I can't get them wide enough to get a stable engrave on a tumbler. So I went through the shop and I picked up some assorted cylindrical objects, and I've been testing it, and I have found that it does a really good job, but you have to stay within in my opinion, what it's intended for, what it's made for, and it is not made for large tumblers. So far, the diameter of this can of spray paint right here seems to be about the threshold for this guy. And this thing is 6.5 centimeters, or about 2.5, 2.5 inches, 2 5/8 inches. So it's very comfortable with these. Anything, if you get any bigger than something this size, it's not stable and I don't trust it. So I've been sticking with things this size and smaller. So I ran down to my local Dollar General, and if any of you are from the South, I am sure you know what a Dollar General is. They're everywhere. Okay, you can't drive from my house any direction more than about 6 miles without passing one. So it's a little small general merchandise store that they put them everywhere. So I went down to Dollar General and I tried finding a slender tumbler or water bottle or something like that I could grab for a couple of dollars, and I was unsuccessful at getting that. Now, what I did find, and this is something that I have been unable to do on any of my other machines, is I did find a 99-cent wine glass. And so in today's video, this is going to kind of be the main event, I guess you could say. I'm letting the Ceremark dry, but once the Ceremark dries, I'm going to put this guy on there and engrave it and see how it turns out. But first, I just want to kind of run you through the paces of what this thing can do and the little bit of tweaking that it took for me to get it to where I like using it and I'm getting consistent results with it. And so I'm going to move the camera over, and I've got a few random round things that we're going to put on there, and I'm going to show you how it works. All right, guys, first up, I'm going to explain to you how this guy works with the Comgrow. The first thing that you have to do is you have to unplug both stepper motors, and then you can plug into either this stepper motor or that stepper motor. Lesson learned, guys, depending on which motor you plug into, it will make it run a different direction on your engrave. So if you get one of these guys and you hook it up and it's running backwards, you may want to swap to the other side for the rotary. Now, I have chosen to hook mine up on the right side, and as you can see in there, guys, I have made myself a jig to hold this guy square and hold it where it needs to be. This was a pretty intense build, a lot of trial and error to get all of my little cutouts where I wanted them and get it to where it would work like I wanted it. And I also incorporated a few spacers and a new spacer setup for this build here as opposed to my previous ones. So if you need to level your machine, I've got a slot here and a slot here. So if you've got something on there that's, you know, downhill, you actually can raise the machine up, and I've made these little pieces that snap into those holes, and you can raise the machine. It sets back down. It's still locked in place where it can't move. The piece here is notched in the base so that it can't slide that way, and so it still holds it secure. If you need to go the other way, of course, you simply take this guy out, go to the other end, insert this little spacer here, and you can set the machine back down and have it spaced that way. Now, this end is not quite as stable because you got the weight back here, and I couldn't go all the way to the end with this because of the cutout for the other stuff, but it will allow you to raise this end if needed. My recommendation is just to always raise this end. I wouldn't recommend getting too crazy with your adjustments, but you can put that little guy there or there, and it really doesn't affect it a whole lot. The next size is, like I said, the higher you get, the more chance that you're going to have a problem. So, one thing about this rotary that I do like is it's got these little bearings right here, and it's got a thumb screw to where you can connect this little bearing roller to it, and that'll make it where you can do wine glasses. I have never been able to do wine glasses before without coming up with some really creative engineering, but with this guy, you can actually put a wine glass on there. Now, placing it, in my opinion, you need to place it to where if there's a really thin, like this one's got a little bit of a taper, I would probably put that taper right there on those bearings to make sure it doesn't try to ride one way or the other. But I'm going to go ahead and go up here into the rotary tool, and I'm just going to hit the test button and show you how it turns. And there you go. It didn't move. It does a really good job of holding that still. I haven't tried one of these yet, so this is going to be a new venture for me. So the first thing that I'm going to do, guys, is I am going to set the focus. And I don't want to hit my material because it does have Ceremark on it, and that stuff will come off if I hit it. So I'm just going to get that down there to where it needs to be. Go ahead and get that tool off out of the way before I knock my Ceremark off. Tighten that up. Now, the way that I've been aiming this to do my engraves is by using the fire. I just fire the laser. Well, I got to cancel out of this rotary tool here. I fire the laser. And then wherever you start, and you're going to want to be in the middle of whatever it is you're engraving, because you don't want that contour to affect the image. So I put that up there. And when you're using the tumbler, there's some settings that you're going to need to, or when you're using a rotary, there's some settings you need to change. You're going to want to run this thing, start from current position. And you want to make sure to turn off your auto home when powered up, because that was a couple of things that I learned that definitely was an issue that I had to go in and fix. So I'm going to go over here into my power settings. I'm going to go with 100% at 60 millimeters per second. And keep in mind, guys, this is guesswork because I've never done one of these. Let's go 65. I'm afraid 60 might be too hot. Or 70 might be. 70 might be too fast. 60 I think might be a little too slow. So I'm just going to go with 65 millimeters per second at 100% output. I'm doing it as a feel, and this is just a little Christmas decorative image that I've obtained. So I'm going to frame it one more time, just make sure nothing moves, everything's where I want it. All right, let's see what happens, guys. All right, guys, I just realized that I sprayed that whole thing with Ceremark. So I'm hoping that I'm not causing shadowing on the back side of this thing, but that is a possibility. I'm hoping it's not going to happen, but there is a possibility that I may have a reverse image on the other side of that wine glass. Good thing it's only $1. All right, so it's wrapping up. I think I did good on the size of the engrave. It was a little hard to tell because I couldn't tell how far that thing was rotating. But what I did was I watched that sticker that they put on the bottom of it, and as it turned, just tried to make sure of how many revolutions it went around and how much it covered the wine glass. But the engrave actually turned out to be the size that I wanted, so that is good. Got lucky on that one. First go at a wine glass ever, guys. Never been able to do one because I didn't have this little guy back here. And I would have had to engineer something in order to do it. So even though this thing is not going to be, I'm not going to be able to use it for my tumblers because here in the South, if it's anything less than like a 20-ounce tumbler, it's not any good to us. Let's see what this looks like without breaking it. Did I get any shadowing off the back? I hope not. It doesn't look like I did. So there's what it looks like right now. And I am going to go get some water, wipe that guy off, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got it wiped off with some water, and it's kind of hard to see right now, but bear with me. I'm going to show you. There's the engrave, and just so that you can see it a little better, let me put something inside this thing because it is kind of difficult to see and see how dark it is without something in the background. But there's that's with the rag stuffed in it. So it came out pretty well. I'm gonna be gifting this to my wife to use as a Christmas decoration. I don't know what she's gonna do with it. She may put one of those little candles in it. I have no clue, guys. But I had absolutely no need for a wine glass. I don't drink wine. But it was $1, and now it's a pretty cool, pretty nifty little custom gift. So it's a good day. All right, so I'm gonna show you a few other possibilities with this machine, with this rotary, okay? I just so happen to have some little like 1-inch pieces of wood in the shop here, and I snagged a couple of those and cut them up on the bandsaw. I looked for some other things at the Dollar General that I could engrave, but I was unsuccessful in finding anything round. I did start to buy some $1 bamboo spoons, but I opted out of that. I'm gonna make my own spoons. I just don't really want a bamboo spoon. I've got a lathe now where I can turn them. Got all the saws I need, so I'm gonna attempt to do that myself later. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and focus the machine to this piece of wood. One of them a little tight. There we go. All right. Now, remember what I said, guys. To line this up, you're going to want to fire your laser and put it where you want the top left corner of your engrave. So in this situation, I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to go over here and change this. So I'm going to go ahead and send that, and the settings that I'm going to run on this are going to be, let me change that to 50 speed. Make it a little dark. So I'm going to do 50 speed, 100% output using the rotary, and I'm going to go ahead and send it. As long as you stay within the working parameters of this little guy, it works really good. Like I said, if my friends at Comgrow, if you're watching this, please spread those rollers out and get me one that I can do tumblers on. I really, really, really want to see what this thing will do to tumblers. I have figured out, I have another rotary that I can go into the motherboard, plug it directly into the motherboard of this machine and make it work, but I really don't want to have to take the machine apart in order to use a rotary, so I'm avoiding that for right now. I'm going to need to upgrade the fan in this enclosure if I'm going to be operating it open. So there is my text. The text is straight. It's got good clean lines. So it's doing a good job. I can't complain. Like I said, it has its limitations, and I'm not crazy about the limitations, but under the circumstances, I can't complain. When I mentioned wanting to do stuff with a rotary on this guy, Comgrow sent this thing out to me, and I didn't have to pay for it. So I can't complain much, guys. All right, let me see here. I'm going to go ahead now, just to kind of give you an idea of how it will do on a not flat engrave. Let me move this over here out of the way. Frame this up. All right, this is going to be a fill, but it's a round shape, and it's, of course, you probably guessed it, it's my logo. And I'm just going to burn it to it and show you how it, as it turns, this will give it a little more depth to turn and a few more opportunities to make a mistake. All right, so there we go on that. And as you can see, guys, I mean, the machine is accurate. The rotary is not. You don't see any doorsteps in there anywhere where it drew over itself or anything. So I mean, it's doing a really good job on anything that is within the range of the spacing of those rollers. So, all right, so I'm gonna show you some other materials that I have found, size objects that I have found, and guys, don't hold it against me. I just had to go around the shop trying to find some stuff that I could engrave. All right, this is an old can of oil for a automotive air conditioner, and it works great. So what I'll do is I'll go back, put this back on here, and show you how it works. It's the closest thing to a tumbler I could find. It's a piece of painted steel. So that would fit in this machine because, like I said, the rotary, the rollers are a little closer than what my tumblers would require, but I'll show you one in a minute when we get moved on up some. But there's my little can of oil. So let me get this thing set up to where I can. All right, so I'm going to put this right there. All right, let's see if we can knock the paint off this guy. And it actually does a really good job with this. This is a smaller can, and it holds it well and does a really good job with it. So there's the engrave on an old can, and guys, this can's been with me for a minute. So that's an old can of oil for your car. I'm not even sure if this stuff's still compatible. It's been in here for a while, but it does a good job on that. Like I said, this size object works great. All right, one more thing that I found in the shop that would work: spray paint can. It's just the right size as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lid off to make sure it doesn't hit the machine there, and then I'm going to set the focus on this guy. All right, here we go, guys. And this is a half-used can of spray paint, so even if I do get it a little hot, we should still be good. Shouldn't be any exploding going on. And I looked everywhere for some of those slim tumblers and could not find any at the Dollar General. So maybe if I can find some of those one day, we can revisit this. But for now, I just wanted to show you how effective it was. And for 65 bucks, it does give you the capability of doing cylindrical objects as long as you keep them somewhat on the smaller side. So there's the engrave on the spray paint, guys. The word thankful right there. And I'll be honest with you, it almost looks like it was made on the spray paint. And then over here's where I did my testing. But so as long as you stay within this size, I'm gonna go with around 2.5 inches in diameter. This thing seems to do really well. Now, I've got some tumblers up here, and I'm going to show you the problem I'm having with the tumbler. And I know that the problem is that the rollers are too close together. I've compared this machine to the one that I typically use, and it is significantly closer together, which allows a little wobble. So this is the problem I run into here. I'll just show you. You see it slide? You see it slides and scoots, because instead of the cup, it's almost flat on the top surface. So any little bit of movement, it allows it to move. And you can watch it. If you watch real close, see it jumped up a little bit there and it rocked back. So this is just too big. The bars on that, if they were further apart, this would work, but they need to be about twice what they are right now currently to be able to support this adequately and make this work. So I'm not even going to attempt it, because I know that it is going to result in another oops on a tumbler, and so I don't want to waste one. But when it comes to the smaller stuff, guys, I mean, it's doing the job. All right, guys, I hope you found this useful. And if you're one of those folks that had messaged me asking me about a rotary attachment, asking me about doing things with the rotary, with the Z1, I will say this: as far as the power and the ability of the machine, the accuracy of the machine to be able to do tumblers, that's not an issue. It has more than adequate power. The clarity of the machine, it can do a great job on those. The rotary, I like the rotary. It's limited. Like I said, it's limited by size. If you're doing smaller things, then it works great. Stay below 2.5 inches in diameter, and you shouldn't have any issues. The one big thing that I do like about it is it did a great job with the wine glass. So if wine glasses is your go-to, if that's what you're wanting a rotary for, then this actually may be a good investment for you, especially for 65 bucks. You put the little stand on there to hold the leg, get it adjusted like you want it, and you can just plug that thing up and go to work with it. And I did do all of this in Lightburn today. There's a little bit of a configuration that you got to do and change some settings, and then you got to go back. Once you disengage the rotary attachments, you got to go back and load the default settings back to the machine. That happens on the computer, so I didn't really want to get into weeds on that today. There's a lot of other videos out there that explain that process, and I didn't really want to have to be reinventing the wheel. But my opinion, guys, if your target material is 2.5 inches and smaller, then this is more than adequate to do tumblers, glass, whatever you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to do more than 2.5 inch stuff, and that's the reason you're getting the rotary, then it's probably not going to work for you. But it's a good accessory for the Z1. I'm glad I got it. I can see I'm going to be getting some use out of it. I'm probably going to drop a picture of this wine glass on my Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure I'll get a few orders for some custom logos or custom designs or whatever. Probably enough that if I had purchased the rotary, I could get my money back for the rotary, because I can take a $1 wine glass with a little Cermark spray now and turn it into a $10 wine glass. And that's a pretty good little profit margin for those things. And I got a Dollar General, I got them all around me. So if I get all the ones from this Dollar General, I just go to the others. But that's it for tonight, guys, or for today, guys. I've got another piece of equipment that Comgrow sent me I'm checking out. But I just wanted to do my quick little rundown of the rotary tool. And also, if you have this machine and you're considering getting the rotary to go with it, or if you have another machine and you're considering getting the rotary, because I know that this rotary will work with other machines. So you're not only limited to the Comgrow Z1 with the rotary, you just have to go and do some configuring and undo the stepper motors so that it'll work. So I'm actually going to probably try to use it on some of the other machines that I have, but for now, the Z1 is my secondary machine. It stays in the enclosure, and so that's the one that I'll be doing any kind of engraving with for the next little while. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you stopping by. If you're interested in this thing, I will put a link down below to Comgrow. I am an affiliate with them, so if you want to use that affiliate link, let them know that I sent you. That'd be nice. You can click that down below. And once again, this Comgrow setup was sent to me to use, sent to me to try. They don't pay me for the videos, but I do get free stuff. And so there you have it. But anyway, guys, I appreciate your attention. And until next time, have a good day.